Donald Trump once again invading the independence of a critical agency, the Federal Trade Commission. And here's what went down. Let's talk about the fight that's taking place. So earlier in the day, out of nowhere, the Federal Trade Commission started removing posts and guidance that was critical of Amazon, Microsoft, and certain AI companies. Business guidance content published during the Biden administration and other administrations just vanished from the website that provides consumers with guidance. Just a quick primer for people. The Federal Trade Commission's mission is to protect the public from deceptive or unfair business practices and from unfair methods of competition through law enforcement, advocacy, research, and education. And so after then just like deleting this guidance that's meant to help the public and just call out bad practices from large corporations, boom, the Trump administration announced that it was firing 2 of the board members who were appointed in Democratic administrations. And so they fired this guy, Alvaro Bedoya, one of the people on the commission. And then they fired another commissioner as well, R.K. Slaughter. They both came out with statements right away, just saying that they woke up and they were fired. As Eamon Javers says, sudden surprising move by Trump at the FTC. Although, Harry, what could be surprising at this point with this guy? Can't remember a situation like this before ever. Going to be a very big legal fight. And if Trump is moving to purge Democratic appointee, take over the FTC, it begs the question, to what end? I think the end of the oligarchs. This is what Alvaro Bedoya wrote. I'm a commissioner at the Federal Trade Commission. The president just illegally fired me. The FTC is an independent agency founded 111 years ago to fight fraudsters and monopolists. Our staff is unafraid of the Martin Shkreli's and Jeff Bezos of the world. They take them to court and they win. Now the president wants the FTC to be a lapdog for his golfing buddies. Together with Chair Lena Khan and Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter, I spent my time at the FTC fighting for small-town grocers and pharmacists and for people in Indian country going hungry because food was too expensive. I fought for workers getting screwed on pay and benefits and overtime. I fought for their right to organize. I fought tech companies who think they can track you and your kids every hour of every day so they can pocket their next billion. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or someone who's disgusted with Washington, you can barely watch the news. The FTC has worked for you. Who will Trump's FTC work for? Will it work for the billionaires or will it work for you? It was an honor to serve my country at the FTC. It was an honor to work alongside its staff. And to everyone who is watching all of this unfold, don't be scared. Fight back. Tomorrow I will testify before the Colorado Joint House and Senate Judiciary Committees, and we'll have more to say than another similar statement from the other commissioner, Rebecca Slaughter, who was fired. And they're saying, we're going to court. We're going to fight this. Harry, again, Donald Trump firing people from these independent agencies, firing people who had the backs of consumers, and then setting this showdown for the unitary executive where he's just going to not acknowledge what Congress had stated in their enabling statutes, that these agencies are supposed to exist independently. Break it all down for us, Harry Litman.
Yeah, so legally and then factually. Legally, Ben, there's, as you say, there's all these independent agencies. He's been firing them willy-nilly, and he wants to attack them all. The Supreme Court has permitted inroads into, has had certain instances where they say you can fire people even without cause because that's your prerogative as president. So where have they been doing it? They've been doing it where there's only one person who's heading an agency, or where there are people exercising really strong prosecutorial power. But this is the very issue that comes up with the Office of the Special Counsel with Hampton Dellinger, or the NLRB, etc. And here's what's so interesting. The Supreme Court, there's a single precedent that controls all these things for now, where the Supreme Court said, it's okay. Congress can put these limitations on, and then you need cause to fire them. And to date, the administration has been trying to sort of do little inroads on it. But what's that case? Humphrey's executor, which you may have heard of, it is the FTC. So in other words, Trump here is saying in 1935, the U.S. Supreme Court said, you can't do that, President, because Congress has put these guardrails on and they are constitutional, especially since it's a multi-member commission. It's the exact same one, especially because of the role that they exercise. So this is the same as his saying Humphrey's executor should be overruled. There's no way to square that with what the law says. It's the very same agency. So that's going to be the ultimate in the Supreme Court. That's the big legal thing. And then the factual thing, we already had taken the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau and just basically stripped it down to the studs, closed the building, fired everybody. So they were the other agency that was protecting consumers, and now it's the FTC. So really, if they are just completely, if there's not one, and then the other really are the Republicans who are Trump loyalists, man, it is bad news for consumers. There's so many things and ways in which these two agencies, now just one, were some kind of pushback. You know what it's like to call the phone company. You know what it's like to try to have any satisfaction when big companies are putting these processes into motion. Forget about it. And now the only advocates for regular people, for consumers, are being totally just wiped out. So that's the fact of the matter. And then again, the legal matter is, it's so clean. It's the very case that the Supreme Court said in 1935, Congress can do it. So it'll just be the question, do we change our mind from 1935? And they might.
We've seen so many of these battles, and they tend to be directed at the agencies that help the people and that push back against the billionaire and the oligarch interests. I mean, this fight may seem similar to other fights where individuals who were helping the Federal Consumer Financial Agency that was helping consumers that Senator Elizabeth Warren started, and they had their commissioners fired in kind of the same way. So they're uniquely going after the people who have the consumers back, who have the unions back, who has the workers back. And that's, think about who they filed from the National Labor Relations Board, and then the commissioner had to go and fight to get reinstated, and there's litigation there. So there's a clear pattern here, Harry, in who they're targeting over and over again and who they're promoting. I'll give you the last word on that.
Yeah, look, I first, you're totally right. And then more generally, I want to be a little careful here, Ben, because it's such a vast field. But there's been some really interesting studies and articles that come out that have made it pretty much beyond rebuttal that the supposed neutral just want to make government more efficient and get rid of the fat. Well, guess what? The fat that have gotten rid of is all what we would think of as pro-middle class government, or even pro-underprivileged. That is, it's that side of things, as opposed to the blue side, if you will, of the independent state that they have really gone after, and that DOJ has really gone after in the guise of just being neutral. And the agencies here, FTC is 110 years old. CFPB was set up after and it was set up, by the way, because of all the abuses in the the Roaring 20s or the Progressive era, and CFPB because of all the abuses leading up to the 2008 meltdown, and at real lessons of like what happens without agencies like this, what happens to regular people. And that was the reason Congress voted them in. And you gotta, we're gonna see now just how much the people who Trump purported to be for, the sort of, middle class people, the disenfranchised, lost their jobs, etc. They're going to take a serious hit here that they, had no idea was coming, because government's role as working for regular people is having every limb chopped off by the week.
But Harry, we know what the Trump regime is going to do to try to distract them. They're going to invoke, like they did, War Powers Act type things, alien enemies,
murder immigrants all over the country. Exactly.
Do the ISIS style videos of people who they claim are gang members who were killing people without due process. Throw people in cages and then say, look, we saved you. So we're taking the economy and there's a recession.
There might be a little R word.
But we hope that when we frame it this way, though, which is the facts and the truth, it's just so obvious what it is that they're doing. And Harry, you frame things so clearly and concisely for me. It's where I get my legal news from, is the Talking Feds YouTube, the Talking Feds podcast, and the Talking Feds Substack. So I suggest everybody subscribe to all the Talking Feds podcasts, YouTube, Substack. Just go search it. Harry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. Everybody, call out the lies.
Kind of matching today. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.